Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Daily Reads podcast. You may have noticed that the name this time is different. Yesterday it was Yesterday I Read, but now I have changed it to Daily Reads. This is because Daily Reads is much more memorable, and because the URLs were available for Substack and Anchor. So, this is your host Akash Joshi, and today I shall be discussing some of the best articles that I read yesterday with their links in the accompanying Substack. So, listing them in no particular order, let's begin. First up is the work of fiction called The Gig Economy, written by a user whose WordPress account name is 0HP Lovecraft. The work of fiction is something like Black Mirror, but written for the modern times, with shadowy organizations telling people to do some tasks in exchange for cryptocurrency. The article can be read as something deeply profound about the modern times or just anti-capitalist propaganda. Anyways, it's a really interesting read and it's kind of long, so do take the time out to read it today. Next up, we have some crazy bit of news. This was published on ZDNet by Catalin Cimpano. Moscow implemented a blockchain-based voting system based on Ethereum for the next Russian election. But can you guess how much time a French researcher took to break through that project? Just 20 minutes. So you must be thinking, hey, isn't blockchain supposed to be secure? So yeah, blockchain is supposed to be secure, but only if you use the correct size if you use a large encryption size. So Moscow took some sort of shortcut while building it, and they used a really small encryption size. So what happened was that it was crackable by even standard PCs using freely available software online. So do check the article out. The researcher has also included the GitHub repository there. Thirdly, we have two space-related pieces of content together. A 3D real-time viewer of all the satellites currently active made by the AG Collective, and an interesting video and article about how black holes swallow information by the Back Reaction blog. Firstly, I'll talk about the 3D satellite viewer. So it's a really interesting application. Like, it's a 3D map of all the satellites and the real-time positions. And the blog is an interesting article on how black holes swallow information. So the author draws several analogies to things like clay mixing in together and how some processes are reversible while others are not. So do check both of them out. Next up, we have a bit of an interesting news. Major book publishers are suing Amazon-owned Audible over their new speech-to-text feature. Audible is going to introduce a new speech-to-text feature which will transcribe audiobooks so users can read the books while they're listening to them. However, there's a license-based issue which arises here. So publishers give out different licenses for audiobooks and separate licenses for physical copies or ebooks. So Audible has bought out just the audiobook licenses from the publishers, but if they want to add text content, they will also have to purchase the physical book licenses. So it will be interesting how Audible negotiates this with the publishers. Follow the link in the Substack to read more about it. And lastly, there is a large PDF dump by Computer World, who list all of the interviews that they've done with creators and founders of programming languages about the languages themselves. So it's a long read, but I do recommend taking the time out to read an interview of at least your favorite programming languages, because it's a really good read, and do check it out. Lastly, today's indie project shoutout goes to Grey Grids, which is a project by the maker Musharraf Chowdhury. They are a series of paid bootstrap templates which you can use for your next project. So they're really beautiful, and I recommend checking them out once, just as an inspiration for your next project maybe. Check it out at greygrids.com. Thanks for tuning in for today, guys, and see you all tomorrow.